It's safe to say that actress Rose Byrne is crushing it these days. She's forged a successful acting career, launched a production company, and is raising 2 beautiful children. So what's her secret? Here's how she went from shy Australian kid to one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood. From a young age, Byrne was fascinated by the arts. She revealed in an interview with Grazia, "I'd say I've always been a creative spirit. I don't know if there was a formative moment that made me want to be an actress, but probably a series of moments that led up to it. Realizing that I could do something I loved so much as a job was a real revelation to me." While her parents weren't creatives themselves, they did everything they could to cultivate their daughter's talents. Byrne told Interview magazine that she grew up in a, quote, artistic bohemian suburb of Sydney called Balmain, where she was surrounded by artists who provided inspiration for the budding actress. Admitting that she's grateful for her parents' support, Byrne told The Telegraph, "It was all very new to them, but they were happy for me to do it. It makes such a difference when that happens. I've met people whose parents weren't supportive, and it's debilitating." It may seem strange considering the career she chose, but Byrne was very shy as a child.
And I was shy. Someone doesn't believe me.
But her shyness is part of the reason that her parents encouraged her acting, hoping that it would help her come out of her shell. Byrne told the Daily Telegraph, "It actually worked. It really did. I think that was one of the reasons my parents thought it would be so good for me. I'd encourage every kid to do it because it's all about collaboration and imagination, and I think it's really beneficial when you're growing up."
$20 says I do better with fear than you do with shame.
It was a family friend who recommended that Byrne try acting, so she began taking classes at the Australian Theatre for Young People when she was 8 years old. She added, "I just loved it, loved it, loved it. When you are shy, it's a great way to integrate with other people. Use your imagination, play, and socialize." Byrne landed her first role in the 1994 film Dallas Doll when she was just a teen. And in spite of her young age and shyness, she wasn't intimidated by the audition process. She told Daily Actor, "I wasn't that nervous at that age. It was really exciting and fascinating. All these people and cameras and boxes and cords. It felt very adult, I suppose. It was an eye-opening experience at that age. I was just 13 and I was realizing that I could do this for a job." Byrne followed that up with a role on the Australian TV series Echo Point, Fallen Angels, and Wild Side. Although she already had several roles under her belt, Byrne still applied to college. She told The Telegraph, "My parents were adamant about us all going to university. They considered it a privilege to be able to get an education and our duty to use our brains." But in spite of all of her real-world acting experience, she didn't get into drama school, adding, "I was devastated. For a while, I didn't know what to do." While it was quite a blow at the time, clearly everything ended up working out. She attended college, but instead of drama, she studied English literature and gender studies at the University of Sydney.
What are you doing?
Oh, not much. Yeah, well, I just thought I'd give you a call, see what you're doing.
Didn't know if you're gonna call or not.
While she found school interesting, she ultimately dropped out to star opposite Heath Ledger in the Australian thriller comedy Two Hands. Byrne kicked off her American acting career with serious dramas, but in 2010 she made the leap to comedy starring in Get Him to the Greek. While she had always been interested in the genre, making the jump was a big risk. She told Red Magazine, "I always wanted to do comedy. I come from a family that laughs a lot, and Australians have a very healthy sense of humor. But the first American things I did were very heavy and dramatic, so it took a while to convince people I could do it."
Let's get married. I love you.
Yeah, I was going to get married, but then you went to rehab for methamphetamine. I was taking a lot of E, and we had to reschedule.
The following year, she starred alongside Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig in the smash hit Bridesmaids.
Well, that concludes the speeches for the night.
Thank you. One last thing.
She told The Telegraph, "It was a very conscious decision. I'm Australian. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but I really didn't know if I would have any luck. Just because you're funny in real life doesn't mean you are necessarily a funny actor. And if you're funny on screen, it does not mean you're bound to be funny in real life." While Byrne wasn't known for being outspoken early in her career, she gradually became more vocal. In 2014, she appeared in the awareness campaign It's On Us, a public service announcement advocating against assault on college campuses.
I took the pledge, and so can you.
Along the same lines, that year, she also took part in Women's Day at the UN, telling The Guardian in a 2015 interview, "I thought it was a really hard subject to discuss that nobody really wants to talk about."
There's a quiet sort of tolerance for this behaviour and treatment of women, and it shouldn't be the case, obviously.
Byrne also began to call out the film industry, supporting an ACLU investigation into gender discrimination in film and TV, according to the outlet. She said, "Why is this quietly tolerated? said, why has this been a silent agreement for the last however many years? This is discrimination, and that's illegal. It's very interesting, long overdue, and quite frankly exciting to see it being taken as seriously as it should be. In 2015, Byrne took direct action to tackle gender discrimination in the film industry.
Often I just read scripts and I always want to play the guy role. Like, I'm like, that's the role I'd rather play.
Along with 4 of her peers, Byrne founded the Dollhouse Collective, an all-female production company based in Australia. The group said in a statement via Film Inc., "The idea has been germinating for a while. We are close friends and we have worked together, so it's been a natural progression. We realized we are a group of creatives and saw the opportunity to achieve more together than as individuals." The entire experience has proved to be transformative for Byrne, who revealed to the Daily Telegraph, "It's definitely been challenging. Being on the other side of things and discovering how projects are developed and how difficult it is to find funding, it's a whole different way of working for me, but I'm learning a lot." She may have a starring role in Mrs. America, but even though Byrne has been based in the United States for more than a decade, her heart will always belong to Australia. She admitted to the Daily Telegraph in 2016, "I miss home. It's that strange thing of getting used to being away from it and then, as a result, missing it. So when I go back, it's more emotional each time because time has passed and everyone's older and I'm older and have a child now. It just has a different resonance than it did when I was younger."
Am I detecting a bit of an accent?
You are.
English, right? Hello, Governor. Oliver Twist.
Australian, actually.
But no matter how much time she spends away from her homeland, Byrne says her Australian roots remain strong. She told the Evening Standard in 2017, "I am an Australian through and through. And though I have been here for 10 years, I'm not a citizen and I still wake up on some days and go, what am I doing here? I'm an alien." The fact that Byrne doesn't take herself too seriously isn't just the secret behind her comedic success, it's also part of what keeps her grounded. While she enjoys the kind of career success that some people only dream about, she doesn't think of her job as being particularly important. She told the Daily Telegraph, "Acting is embarrassing, absolutely. Just the vulnerability it requires, whether in a performance or doing interviews, it's an odd thing, and it's also a bit of a silly job. I mean, it's a great job and I take it seriously and I'm passionate about it, but I know I'm not curing cancer, so you have to have some perspective on it."
What a stupid toast. You're delightful.
As are you.
While Byrne may underestimate the joy she brings to her fans, her lack of self-importance makes her that much more endearing. Even though she moved to another country and has become an internationally famous celebrity, Byrne still maintains a very close relationship with her family and says they keep her ego from getting too big. She told Red Magazine, "There is definitely a side of this business that's very heady, and some people easily get swept up in it all, but my family is very down to earth. I have 2 sisters and a brother. I'm the youngest of 4, so that keeps me reasonably in check. In fact, I really didn't have much confidence in my 20s. I'm far more comfortable in my own skin now." She's so comfortable these days, she even did an Australian kookaburra impersonation for Jimmy Fallon. In 2016, Byrne gave birth to her first child with partner Bobby Cannavale, and the following year, the couple welcomed their second son. About this next chapter in her life and meeting Bobby, Byrne told InStyle, "Having my kids was the biggest, profoundly emotional turning point in my life. It's so hard to talk about without sounding like a cliche because it's so much more than that. Starting a family is an enormous transition for any parent, whether you're a movie star or not, but Byrne found her life greatly impacted by having children." She told People magazine, "Every day, every hour, I'm like, what is happening? I'm learning on the job. I have no business telling anyone what to do. Being a mother changes everything. I feel like it informs everything I do." Byrne has been romantically linked to Bobby Cannavale since 2012, but the two aren't legally married. Instead, Byrne does wear 2 bands on her ring finger and often refers to the father of her child as her husband. She admitted to the Evening Standard in 2017, "He's practically my husband, so calling him that is easier. The formality isn't a draw for me, but we'll do it one day. Once you have children, I just think, why not?" However, the pair does enjoy a bond that even extends to their professional lives, and they have even worked together multiple times on films like Adult Beginners and Annie. Byrne told the Daily Telegraph, "I love working with Bobby. You know, aside from our personal relationship, he's just a fantastic actor." Byrne may be an A-lister, but that doesn't mean that she's putting it all out on the table. Instead, she prefers to keep the emphasis on her work rather than her personal life. She told The Telegraph, "I'm not happy talking about myself. I'm happy talking about my work, but I'm not really into revealing everything about me. There's not much to know about me anyway." Byrne doesn't have much of a social media presence either. In a 2017 interview with InStyle, she revealed that she was too shy to be on Instagram publicly, adding, "I never did Facebook or any of the precursors to that. Instagram was my first foray into social media. It's nice to see people, friends, doing their thing." She did launch a public Instagram account in 2018, but doesn't post regularly. Byrne seems to be the rare celebrity who wants to stay out of the public eye. Byrne has come a long way since the days she took acting classes to overcome her shyness. It has taken her a long time to learn how to deal with rejection, but she has gradually built up a thick skin over the years. She told Backstage, "I used to be so destroyed when something would be cut that I'd worked hard on or that I thought worked well. Don't get me wrong, I still get upset about it when I really think it needs to be in there, but I pick my battles more carefully."
Well, that'll do it.
Yes, it did.
Done.
Right.
As she has gotten older, Byrne has also learned how to speak up for herself. She said, "If you don't ask the questions, you're going to be in your head about it. You've got to know so you can learn from it. I've only been vocal about it the past couple years. Now I have more of an ability to communicate." Byrne may be best known to moviegoers, but she doesn't limit herself to film work. In 2014, she made her Broadway debut opposite James Earl Jones in You Can't Take It With You, for an experience that she says was both exhilarating and nerve-wracking. She admitted to the Daily Telegraph, "It was terrifying initially. My nerves were shot the first couple of weeks and I felt sick all the time, but I'm so glad I challenged myself." It would be a few years before Byrne had another opportunity to tread the boards, but in 2020 she returned to the stage with Cannavale and the Brooklyn Academy of Music's production of the Greek tragedy Medea.
Setting it in the modern day really brings a fresh eye, particularly obviously to the narrative of women and women working and women having children and women in relationships.
She joked about appearing in such a heavy drama, telling InStyle, "It's fine, it's lighthearted. After I turned 40, I thought this is the kind of most ridiculous, risky thing I could do. I'm scared, I'm gonna do it, and if I fail, that's okay. Listen to me comforting myself. But I'm going to dive in and do it. No risk, no reward."
And I think people will be very surprised and disarmed by the version of her that we see.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.